Speaking with the sound guys via sign language if we can't just use our words. But why use words when you can use body language? Am I right?
Stand over here.
Your body language tells you so much more. Like all the people talking and ignoring me in the back of the room have not fully accepted that they should shut up and sit down or go out of this room. Who in this room knows what imposter syndrome is? Does anybody ever feel like an imposter? I'm really hoping that as a result of this next presentation, you'll learn to let go of some of your imposter syndrome. He's got a big grin on his face. Okay, Chef Kenny Daniels is up next.
Yeah, for me too. Yeah,
and he has done a lot of chefy things.
Yeah,
but something that just like blew my mind last year as I got to know him was he works with restaurant owners to come in and set them up from a situation that is not successful into a situation that is successful if they follow his plan, which requires them to follow his plan.
That's the tough part.
And he takes a percentage of said success as payments,
Correct.
which then gives him a model of some, it's not exactly ongoing recurring revenue, but it kind of is. It just has an end point, right?
Nope.
Oh, no end
it's
point.
In perpetuity. It's
in perpetuity.
Yep.
So he is motivated for them to be successful with his plan.
Absolutely.
And they are excited to pay him until they get mad 10 years later for helping them be successful, right?
I make them good money. They're usually
they're usually pretty happy. So I thought, wow, I need to take this concept into something in my revenue stack, but I haven't figured out what yet. So anyway, that was just a little view into Chef Ken Daniels. If you haven't heard him on the expert panel, then you should start listening to the Thursday show more often. Okay.
Yeah, she's stalling because she has no idea. Nobody knows what I'm talking about today. So nobody knows. So welcome. Obviously, you see the imposter. We're going to talk about perseverance today a little bit because I had no idea that was going to be kind of the word of the day, but this fits right in. So let's start out. So who I am. She did a really good segue into that. So as you guys know, I am your expert council member for food and beverage and a bunch of other stuff. But for those of you who don't know, or even new listeners, I just wanted to throw that up there. I'm a certified sommelier of the Court of Masters. So I'm certified in basically in all spirits, all wine, sake, soju, everything you could possibly drink. Executive chef instructor and consultant. I went to school to brew beer, so I do have a brewer certificate as well. So if amen to national award-winning mixologist. I specialize also in single barrel procurement around the country. So I'll go to different distilleries and pick out single barrels from Kentucky. We have one tonight that I'm giving Jack. It's a gin that I picked out in Willamette, Oregon. It's a barrel aged, it's an Old Tom gin, which you don't really find too often, which is going to be fun. You guys get to try that tonight. And then tonight, I do have enough whiskey tonight. If you guys want to do a whiskey tasting, it's not on the board, but we might just do an impromptu one tonight. I do a pretty cool module. Last year, you guys had it about how to drink whiskey. And if you think you know how to drink whiskey, I'm going to kind of blow your mind with that. Nick was a big, Nick came up to me last year. And he's like, Drew, I've never ever experienced whiskey like that before in my life. So I appreciate it, guys. So just lately, since she did mention, I do have a company called Advanced Hospitality Group. It's a consulting group. I go around the country and I help small to medium-sized companies actualize their next step. And so I want to make sure that when they're ready, I basically bring all of their ineffable things that they have, and I build them into a structure, their brand, their culture, the SOPs, and that part of me, both front and back of the house, very proud of. I've humbly made a lot of people good money. And she's right, I do take a percentage of any new concept that I build after that in perpetuity. And it's a nice paycheck coming in, which allows me to kind of be semi-retired at 44 now. And so since then, I've started working as last year, I started learning to be a professional cheesemaker. So I do professionally commercial grade cheese. This year, I started butchering a lot at Country Mom Farms, and another kept processing. So 2 days ago, I just polished off 200 deer during deer season. So for me, it's about learning the skills and the trade from the base level. I don't care how many credentials I have up here. I always start at the bottom. I want to learn the skill as it is from the base and then work my way up to teach others. Operational consultant, you saw that. And then I do logistic management and events for events up to 50,000 people, usually in Vegas. So when there's a big festival, they call me in to do logistics and planning. And I'm talking 6 months in advance. If a client wants, 50,000 ribeyes over the course of 2 days. There's simply not enough beef in the market. So I'm buying future beefs from suppliers and people like that. And so I used to handle all those logistics. So the day of, we're making sure 50,000 people are fed well. That's who I am, right? But the first slide was the imposter. And I want to tell you guys something. You guys know me from the Expert Council, right? And so who's enjoyed my recent lesser known cuts of meat? That's probably everyone's been talking about it lately, and I genuinely appreciate that. So if you haven't heard and you don't hit the Thursdays, I'm going to give you a little clip. This is important.
Now, technically speaking, yes, almost every cut we've talked about in beef has a direct analog in venison. Deer are four-legged ruminants, same as cattle, with the same basic muscle groups: shoulders, ribs, loins, and rounds. But the big difference isn't anatomical, it's scale. Everything on a deer is smaller, leaner, and more compact.
So that's kind of a sample of what I do for you guys on every Thursday. I try to keep it consistent. I try to, lately, last month, it's been kind of tough, but I've been giving Jack, anytime he needs, every week, he's usually got something in his mailbox waiting for him. Whether he uses it, I appreciate it, because to me, I am a niche kind of topic amongst the homesteaders. But when it's relevant and when he feels like it's something that he needs to like share with you guys, he'll share it. And I'm just very humbled by that. So here's the problem. While many of you enjoy my segments, I haven't been really truthful about who I am with you. And this is kind of a confession. And so I hope you guys take this well, because here's the truth. Since June of 2025, I have not spoken one single word of my segment. Every breath, every mic pop, every single it's all been the work of an imposter. The truth is that I need to reveal this and who I am on the Expert Council member, and kind of open this up to you guys. So here's the truth. All of my content is cloned AI generated voice. From June, if you have heard my voice and my segments, I have not said one single word for this last few months. So kind of crazy, right? So here's why. So February, if you guys didn't know, the first time you saw me on an interview in face, you saw me with the eye patch. Who saw that? Anybody? Right? It's a tough time, right? I could get emotional. So tough time, right? Cerebral nerve palsy of the eye. Sorry. Double vision. Couldn't see. Sucked. It sucked. I mean, sucked. Reading and writing. Oh, sorry. Reading and writing became slow, painful. I love reading. Couldn't do it. Then my mom had a stroke, right? So I remember talking to Jack, and I go, dude, I'm recording my segments in the hospital bathrooms. It sucked. But I made a commitment to Jack a year ago, almost to the last year. I just started this last year, right? So I was constantly in and out of hospitals, right? Whether for myself or my mom. And every week, those segments need to go out to you guys. Every week, I have a commitment. We talk about perseverance. We talk about pushing through the pain. I don't care all these credentials I got. Life just hit me. Bam, right? What the hell am I going to do, right? So here's the problems. These are the problems I needed solving. My commitment was still there despite my personal challenges. I need to write technical scripts for you guys. I don't mind being up here talking, ad-libbing, but when there's a topic with a question, I need to give you guys pertinent information. I need to be clear. I need to be concise. Doing that ad-lib on the podcast is difficult for me. I've got to make sure that I go through basically a script. Now, luckily, I can read scripts pretty animated. I have really good inflection. So usually it doesn't sound like I'm right? So, but I needed scripts. Reading and writing these scripts became slow and very difficult for me. I started leaning on text, speech to text, trying to get, allowing myself to just speak and it basically write my script for me. The problem was that I had inconsistent personal output, right? I lost momentum. I was depressed, right? So it's tough for me when I get topics in. I want to be excited for you guys. I want to be like, give you the best energy. Fatigue, outside noise, stress, it all equaled poor quality. And I didn't want to give that to Jack. And I didn't want to give that to you guys, right? That's something that's a commitment, right? So I needed continuity. I didn't need perfection. I just needed to figure out a way to keep going and persevere through all the crap that was going on in my life, right? I was battling depression. Hard to sound upbeat, right? When you get up in the morning, and so I usually knock them out Thursday mornings right before I got to submit. I usually wake up about early, 5, 6 in the morning. I'm going to get up. And when I'm tired and I'm just depressed, I do not want to fucking talk on a segment. at all. When I don't feel like it, I'm just like, and you can hear it, right? I'm listening to my playback and I'm like, God, this sucks, right? So I needed to continue my recovery while honoring my commitment. I just needed help. And I think that's the biggest thing, no matter how much credentials I've got, what we've done in our life, you need to be able to admit when you need help, right? That's just bottom line. So 11 Labs caught my eye, right? Caught my one eye at that point because I was like this, right? And so 11 Labs is an advanced AI voice synthesis program that creates lifelike, emotional, expressive speech to text. So it allows me to basically clone my voice. It captures my inflections. It captured everything that I input, and we'll talk about in a second. So it captures tone, rhythm, emotion, and it produces speech that sounds genuinely human. And creators can use this for narration, dubbing, and educational purposes. And we'll get into that in a second. Setup. Could it be possible? I mean, really, like I've heard speech to text things before, and it sounds very robotic. And there's no way that I could give a sample to Jack and him not think this is bullshit. You got it. Come on, right? And so I wanted to give it a shot. At this point, it was taking me up to 3 to 4 hours just to produce a Thursday segment, when I had so much other recovery going on. My mom was suffering with stroke and all this other thing. So it was just, you could talk about excuses, but you got to find a solution, right? And so there's 3 versions. I spent about $20 a month. So it really wasn't that much out of my pocket to start. And it asks you to upload 2 hours of speaking, right? And so luckily in my career, I've done previous segments for Jack for almost a year. So I had a little bit there. I had about, they're only 5-6 minute segments. So I had about 40 minutes already there, but I've got a ton of convention speaking. I've got a bunch of other stuff that I do on a national level that I could just pull audio from some of my friends or pull audio that I've already got. And I uploaded 2 hours of all different scenarios of me speaking it. So I had plenty of content. So I don't know if you can see that, but this is kind of what it is. It's fairly simple. I went on here and it says add a new voice, and right down here it says professional voice clone. It allows you up to do 30 minutes, but the more you give it, the better. Remember, we talk about, I took Jack's, AI course, the first one. The more inputs you give AI, the better results you're going to get. And so I wanted to make sure that every audio clip, I had so much that I wanted to make sure that what I gave was the correct inflection. I wanted to make sure that if the audio that I was giving it was something more technical that I was speaking, I don't want a technical inflection in a conversational podcast tone, right? So I wanted to make sure. So I scoured all my stuff, found some really good things. And it took about, I gave it the 2 hours, and after adding the samples, it took about an hour of rendering. I clicked render and it said, come back later, basically, right? And so you're just sitting and waiting. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I went out and did something, came back. And during that time, I also want to understand how we're going to talk about kind of how I do my segments. I think it's kind of a cool, like behind the scenes of how every one of us, I've talked to some of you guys, how you do your segments. I write my own scripts, right? And so every question listeners submit, I answer as if I'm writing an email. So at this time when I'm struggling, luckily I can talk, I can type without looking at a keyboard. But I'm sitting there and typing without looking because my eye is literally like this and I'm having trouble looking, and it's just painful. So I basically, when someone submits a question or I have a topic, I write it like I'm writing you an email, like a personal email. Hey, this is what blah, 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 right? Add some intro, add a little bumper at the bottom, and that's it, right? And so I would usually just read that off the screen, self-record it, and throw it into an audio thing. Well, at this time I was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and just write my script. So as the hours going, doing processing, I'm like, I'm going to write a script. So I wrote the script and I threw it in. Threw it in right here, obviously. And over here, you're going to see some settings. And 11 Labs, it's new, right? And so version 1, it sounds like a robot. And they're getting into version 3 now, which is called the version 3 alpha. I usually use 2.5, right? And so you'll see 2.5 here. My voice is called podcast because it's for the podcast that I do, the segment. And there's things called speed, stability, and similarity. So every time I generate the speech here, it will try to make sure that the pacing's correct. Every model that I do is the stability. So if I turn that off, it's going to give me all these different crazy things. You're going to hear that in a second. Similarity, I want to see, it's going to see how similar it's going to be from generation to generation, right? Very simple to use. I wish there was more. There's not. And so I'm kind of left with whatever they were doing. So all of a sudden the rendering came back, and it doesn't say, hey, it doesn't talk to you like, hey, this is Ken. It just says, okay, input your information. So I did it. I hit generate. There were problems. Lots of them. When I hit generate with AI clone, it was just horrible. And you're going to listen to it right now. There was plenty of learning that I needed to do, learn how to learn to do the program, and plenty of that the AI needed to learn to know what I wanted the output to be. So I'm going to let you listen to a couple of samples. I want you to understand the script does not have any of these things you're going to hear. The AI is inputting different inflections, different emotional tones, even microphone pops in without me asking. They're trying to replicate something that is a complete fact, just false, right? So check this out.
There were problems early on. The pitch was wrong. It sounded like me, but not like me. The timing was too hurried. There were these weird additions that would pop in without me asking. This was the AI needing better inputs.
I did not, right? The mic pop. The mic pop in there. I didn't put that in there, right? We'll listen to the next one. It got worse.
There were problems early on.
My
The pitch was wrong. It sounded like me, but not like me. The timing was too hurried.
There were these these weird additions that would pop in without me asking. This was the I needing better inputs. That was the AI. It said IE needs better inputs, right? So I'm like, this is not gonna freaking work. Are you kidding me? Like I'm like, what the heck is going on? I should just add that in. It added in me stuttering too, and I don't typically stutter when I speak. So I kept playing with it. I kept putting more inputs in. There's a function in there that I can, for difficult words, I can go in and add a dictionary how I want it to speak. And so I started pushing more inputs. So it was sounding better, but then there were still things.
So if you're a rye drinker, grab Rittenhouse. It's spicy, strong, and versatile. Gosh.
Like apparently I channeled the goofy Disney, gosh, right? Again, that wasn't written into the script. So I'm thinking, why does it think I have no idea what it's thinking, right? And so things got better, right? 11 Labs started bringing in newer versions, started evolving. The more I invested in giving the correct prompts and giving all the things that I was trying to just get out of it, the output was improved, right? So we're going to listen to one more. This was actually a segment that we put out.
Hello all, Chef Ken here. Today's question comes from Dudley. He asks, I love black pepper. Are there any other peppercorns that I don't know about? Pepper is one of those ingredients we use every day without really thinking about it. It's there on nearly every table. We twist a grinder over almost every dish. But how often do we actually stop and ask, what is this? And what else is out there?
So all those pauses and longer inflections upon certain words, I did not tell it to do that, right? It started learning me. And I was like, crap, I think I can submit this to Jack. So here I do. I sent a segment over. Hey, Jack, just to let you know, I want to be upfront about this, and we'll talk about this in a second, ethics-wise. I'm doing this. Take a listen. If you throw it back at me, there's no issue. I'll record it regularly. Let me go. Let me know. So Jack's like, he listened to it, and he said, I don't think anybody's going to know. This sounds great. This sounds great. Now, that was not the first one I sent him. I told two other people who are very good friends of mine, Nicole Sauce, Andy, right? And Nicole has a background in linguistics, and she's like, that's not you. And I'm like, why? And she said, the tone is a little off. It's a little higher pitch, and your speed is too fast. It's not. I'm like, all right, cool. Andy, same thing. He goes, something's off about this, and it's your tone and this. And I was like, cool. So I already use DaVinci Audio Editor for my podcast stuff already. Basically, you upload it. It sends out this audio wave. I can cut and click certain areas. And so what I started doing was in the areas where I felt like the audio needed to be paced more, I would just cut it, open it up a little bit to give me a little bit of a millisecond of like time, right? The AI was already adding in my breathing. Weird. It was already adding in all of these random ums that I never, usually when I'm editing my own stuff, and I know, I talked to Nicole, she's like, I just let it go. I usually try to clip out all my ums. It just doesn't sound good for you guys. I wanted to make sure that it's clean and that you guys don't need that when you're listening to it in your car or whatever, right? So I started doing the same thing. I already knew all those little other imperfections are gone. So I just started spacing it out. And then there's over here, I didn't show you guys, but over here on the side, I can actually turn down my tone of my voice just a little bit to get the tone exactly where I am to what the AI was. So at that point, the workflow is this. You guys send in questions. Please send in more questions. Or I have an idea, right? This segment that we did for the Lesser Known Me series is because I'm in love with butchery right now. So I wanted to take that journey with you guys, right? So I'd write it. Now, at that point, I was getting better, but I was still writing my script out. I was still talking into AI. Not that I would do chat and just say, hey, take note of this. This is going to be a script, blah, 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 blah. And I would just start talking. All right, hey, John, this is what we're doing, blah, blah. By the way, Dudley's last question. That's my new dog. So sometimes I use my dog as people asking questions. So, hey, Dudley, this is the question. Hey, this is what I think, blah, blah. And AI would write it out for me. I would take it. I'd paste it into 11 Labs. I'd render it. Then I'd send it to DaVinci. And then I'd shoot it to Jack. From time, 30 minutes. And so for me, I was like, this is a win-win. My eye's killing me. My recovery is getting better, but I couldn't read for more than maybe 2 to 3 minutes before my eye was getting bad, right? I was just suffering. Obviously now everything's good, and we'll talk about it in a second, but I was like, holy crap, this is something I can work into my life to fulfill my commitment and actually work around the problem. And actually now that it's gone, the problems, I'm still using it in some capacity. The last one I did was AI. But now here's the thing. I might decide next week that I can do it I want to do it on my own because I do have fun, right? What's the payoff? So freedom to create anywhere. I was on a plane like 4 days ago, traveling. I put out a segment and I didn't even say one word. And I was on a plane and I just sent it out, listened to the audio. That sounds good. Adjusted it, sent it to Jack. Consistent voice. So if I'm sick, if I'm tired or any circumstances, I know that I've got clean audio, that it's acceptable. Now, I don't think anybody even began to think that I had an AI. Would anybody here suspect that I was using an AI voice? So I get less burnout, right? Like my life is filled of traveling around the country, taking care of my mom, taking care of myself, working out every day. Like there are commitments that we all have. Homestead stuff. I don't have a homestead, but you guys know what commitment is. So the fact that I could take this technology and harness it in a way that would create less burnout for me, awesome. And what does that do? That gives me better storytelling. That gives me a chance to be more passionate to think about what I want to talk to you guys about. Do I want to venture into this topic? Because there are topics I want to do that they're sure as hell not going to talk about it unless I practice it. Victoria and I were talking about, I want to start to look at thistle as a way to generate rennet with a natural source of rennet. I'm not going to talk to you about that, but without I try it, right? And so this is giving me more time, which is great. My focus shift on from recording now to writing, which is what I do professionally. And I could pre-record my bumpers, like my intro and my outro early on and get it super clean. And I know that it's going to be consistent because what happens is you'll record an intro. Hey guys, this is Chef Ken, blah, 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 blah. And then later on, I'll go in and I'll put in the actual question. Well, if I know that my audio is clean and level on this part, and I know it's clean here, I don't have to worry about, microphone was a little off or whatever it is, right? So it created an incredible consistency. So let's look at the bigger picture, right? Creators who can't be everywhere gets burnout, right? Podcasters, YouTubers, authors, educators, you maintain a weekly output without burnout. Professional educators, I do a lot of training. And so now I can actually record some of my front of house or back of the house training for staff, not even being there, but I'm actually giving a personal comment and personal training to them versus them trying to read it. Now it's an audio. Hey guys, listen to this. And they listen to it, right? I record once and I can refine that sucker forever. I don't ever have to worry about recreating the same environment in which I was recording it. So now I can reuse this information endlessly. So let's think even bigger, right? Preserve your natural voice for future generations. Would you even want to do this? Would you even want to hear your grandma, or would you want your kids to hear your voice or be able to write something and hear your voice? It's a very weird topic that I don't even think we've approached, right? Authors, pastors, mentors, parents, anyone with a story or wisdom to pass on. What's that? It actually was on Black Mirror. Build an audio time capsule for perspective and voice. I would love to hear what my grandfather said in his own voice, right? Now, granted, here's the thing. You could technically use that with a recorder. So I'm trying to gauge here like, okay, well, we already have some of this technology, right? But let's talk about the real stuff. Neurological or health issues, someone with MS, someone who has a very good speaking voice, and then they get MS or ALS or Parkinson's, or my mother, stroke, right? The ability for her to speak to me. I want that. Thank you. Sorry, guys. It's very new to me right now. Yeah. Yeah. when someone loses their voice, they lose their personality. They lose everything, right? Worst case scenario, let's say something happens to Jack. We can't hear him like we normally do. There are options for people like now that can help them bridge the gap where normally it wouldn't be, right? And so professional benefits, right? Corporate training and onboarding. I can set up my training and onboarding, and I'm starting to work with some deep fake stuff to see if I can actually do video of me without having to record it, and possibly even expand beyond that, right? Customer service systems. Think about, we already have the ability to do a help system or online when you call somebody and an AI picks up. Well, what if that AI voice when you call my website was my voice? Now that's possible, right? Audiobook narration, right? So I don't know if we know anybody around here who wrote a book recently, but there's now you're able to basically narrate the book without having to take the time. And I also know that I read a lot of books. Sometimes authors are not good at reading their books. They will ruin their own books. And so this is a way for authors to kind of tweak it and make sure it's sweet. Advertising, marketing campaigns, internal company communications, product tutorials, and e-learning. If you guys do stuff on your homestead and you don't have the time to sit there and do audio, you could actually write this out, tweak it how you want it, generate it, and then you've got audio that you could dub over your YouTube stuff, right? If you just don't feel comfortable, some of you yesterday said you don't feel comfortable speaking in front of people. I don't have an issue with it, right? But others do, and that limits the scope of the quality of the services that you can provide. This circumvents that, and this makes a complete game changer for some people. Tourism audio guides. We've already done one. I did one at a restaurant that has a little bit of a museum kind of thing, and the owner did this, and he was able to narrate like he was walking with you through his museum, and he didn't even speak a single word. And he can change it at a moment's notice. He can go on, I want to change this, and he doesn't have to go back and redo audio. It's amazing right now. And networks, podcast networks, the thing that I didn't show you, and it just takes a little too long, is that I can actually have a conversation with someone in that text at 11 Labs. So I can set up an AI voice that's not me, and I can have a conversation with him. So technically, we'll get into ethics in a second. I could do a full audio podcast with an interview of a fake person, and no one would really know. And that's kind of creepy, right? Healthcare, telemedicine, like we're talking last night, Jesse and I were talking about deaf individuals, or any type of communication thing. There's possibilities here that I don't think we've seen before, and I don't really think that most of us knew that it was as good as it is. Practical uses, little work. Anybody can have a spoken book. Shameless plug, Laws of Life. Pick up your copy today. I think this is a good one, right? Like the practicality is right there in front of your face. There are people in here that could use this right now. Personal benefits, family archives, emotional fidelity, vocal patterns. How did your grandfather speak? You might sound just like your grandfather. You have no idea, right? Now, granted, audio recordings are fine, but this system doesn't just record one time. It learns inflection, tone, humor, like humorous like inflections that you don't even notice. The AI is picking up on. Captioning family voice, we talked about that. Public speaking prep. I've done this once. I don't typically need this too much, but I will, if I have something I'm going to be speaking on and it's more of a script, I like to do ad-lib stuff, but I can actually run it and hear it back, my voice, what I think I'm going to sound like. If I like that inflection, or if I want to change it, or if I don't like how that sentence flows, I can actually hear myself without having to record it. Stuttering, if you have a problem with stuttering. And then, is your voice something that you could will out? Is that something that if you, I think the person who spoke first is the first person that, he has a huge podcast, right? His voice is what this podcast, I mean, you guys are right? You're the community, but his voice is so recognizable. Is something, are we coming to the age where now someone who has a little bit of notoriety in speaking communications, are we at a point where we need to think about, is this something I need to even think about willing out my voice and my likeness to my loved ones? And to who? To whom, really? So let's push the limits even further. I could communicate perfectly to a vast number of people in ways I never could before. So I'm going to read this to you. This also gives me the ability to speak with confidence other language if needed. I am fluent in Spanish, but if you wanted my voice to be something in Japanese, I could write a segment for a podcast and know that I'm speaking the language correctly and confidently.
これのおかげで必要な時には他の言語でも自主印を持ってはなせるようになりました。 スペイン語はペラペラなんですけど、例えば日本語で何か話したくなった時でも、ポッドキャストのどんなコーナーでも正しくて自信のある日本語で話せるように書けると思います。
Correct. Now, let's say I wanted to read that same one in French. Uh-oh. What happened? Oh. Oh, no. I actually, later on, I'll show when I did one in German for Nicole. It's right here. You go right here. I don't know why it skipped.
Cela m'a également donné la capacité de m'exprimer avec confiance dans d'autres langues si nécessaire. Je parle couramment l'espagnol, mais si je voulais dire quelque chose en français, je pourrais écrire des segments pour n'importe quel podcast en sachant que je parle la langue correctement et avec assurance.
Yeah. But imagine the number of people you can reach with this, with all of the skills and talents in this room. Don't just think about, oh, this is weird. AI is scary, and we're going to get into that in a second. Think about the number of people you can reach. You say you have a client or somebody who's in France. How I did this, I went to chat. Hey, I need something conversational. This is what I want you to write, the script. Please convert this to French in a conversational tone. Remember, give it good prompts, right? Now, here's the problem. I don't know how to vet that. I can't hear that and know, right?
Feed it into another AI. Yeah.
Even better, right? You guys are, I love it. You guys are already like, oh, damn, this is, whoa, crap, right? This is crazy. But now I can go, yeah, dude, I can help you with your restaurant in France. Now, granted, I can go and audio, do my translating thing. But if I just sent him something, hey, this is what I think was going on, and it's this little audio, it sounds like I speak French, and I don't speak a word of it. So, ethics, is this honest? Is it still me? That was the question I was asking Jack. Is it still me? Right? Yeah, this is all me uploading all my previous stuff. I don't know. Disclosure matters, though, and this is something Nicole and I talked about a lot. Telling you, this was like a social experiment, right? But telling you is the most important part, right? And when I speak, is it something that I need to tell you guys? I think it is, right? But as we grow, like as we get along in the age with her generation coming up, there might be so much of this going on that it's just accepted. It's just kind of, I think we're in this generation now where we're like, this is so new. Honesty is the best way to do it. Andy and I were talking, and he's like, do you still write your scripts? And I said, of course. I don't think that's right for me to be. Yeah, I don't think it's fair for me to be an expert council member and not write my scripts or not write the information that I want to talk about. And that's really the only personal integrity thing that I care about, is making sure that is the content that I want be given to you exactly there. How I deliver it, I think that's okay. And I'm hoping you guys feel the same way. How uncomfortable this is make you feel. We're going to talk. We have a chance for a Q&A. I will tell you the truth. I did this, and I sent this to my sister who's 52. She's 8 years older than me. She said, honestly, I thought that was you. I thought you just got new audio equipment. She goes, this freaks me the hell out. And I said, yeah. And she's like, and I said, there's a thing. If someone ever tries to, I don't know why they would, but ever tries to like spoof my voice. Do you remember the picture that was on the refrigerator when we were younger? And she's like, yeah. I was like, no one, her and I, it's like in the 80s. She's the only person that's going to know that. If you ask me that and can't give you that answer, it's not me. Now,
That's a good protocol, period.
Protocol, right? Like there are some things, I think it's protocol, right? But now it's like, Jesse and I were talking like, how do we even know anything that's going on in this world is what's actually happening voice-wise, right? We just don't, right? So downsides, loss of ad-libbing. I love talking to you guys and, picking up questions and stuff and then like getting things at the moment. Or like when I'm doing my podcast and like I'll be talking to I might talk to a couple people I'm doing it and I get that feedback. I don't have that, right? I enjoy recording sometimes. I really do. For those of you who know me, it's close, but it's still not perfect. But in not even 6 months, it's gotten so well that it's so much indiscernible. I can't even, it's marginal, right? And then who the hell knows the potential downside beyond this? This is something that's going to be quite scary, right? And so I'm glad you guys picked that up. But yeah, just a hush in the room.
Questions. Hey.
All right, we'll see how I do with the questions first. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah, I've got pre-recorded pre things.
So, and this might not be, it's everything's so new. Who knows if
Yep.
this is in your knowledge base yet? Talking about for future generations to have the ability to hear grandpa's voice.
Yep.
Do you know if there's a commonality of a file like a .stl? We can throw in a 3D printer. We can put it in, it's a 3D file. Is there? Do you know if they're doing something like that? So basically, that way you could put it on a USB stick. You're not paying 11 Labs $20 a month in perpetuity, and then later someone can pick that up.
I'm with Jack. I think that'll come. I don't know. I have to come to terms that there's somewhere in a server somewhere, there's my voice.
Right.
And beyond 11 Labs, which I pay, and I'm probably going to end up going to the professional version, which is going to be more money because I want to see how far I can get this with a little extra money. But you think about $20 a month, that's something that I think everyone who would use this is fairly reasonable, right? How much am I going to get on the professional level? What weird added extra things that I can get? I have no idea, but I think it'll come. I don't know. I don't work for 11 Labs, but it would be interesting. So I'm gonna squeeze over here.
This can be done offline too.
Yeah.
You can totally run this local offline. It might take longer to do. It's a lot more technical.
Yeah.
And it also kind of sucks.
So here's the deal, guys. Here's the deal. Like,
Exactly.
if you think about it, I am a chef and a som that kind of put this together, right? You have more technical skills. You could be a white hatter or you could be a black hatter. You could take this and do very nefarious things, or you could take this and do amazing things for people. So this is a new frontier. So
Yeah, I just want to make a quick comment about the rabbit hole. My background, and recently retired software developer, and so I started going down the AI, looking into it, and I ran into a content developer who was doing the voice.
Sure.
He then also did video, so he has an AI generated character of himself, and he would do his podcast that way. And then he started using, and you can connect all the dots, generating script from ideas that he had. And this is part of what you're getting to about the ethics. And he would actually generate all the narrative from that too. And then he started doing that automated, where he wasn't even producing his podcast. It was every week coming up with his own questions, answering them, and then basically publishing. Anyway, that's part of the rabbit hole that I ran into.
Sure.
Looking into it.
listen, integrity plays a part here, right? How easy would it be for me to just ask AI to? So ever since last year and Sean's AI thing, I started building every bit of my database, all the SOPs, employee doc, everything that I've ever written, including all the articles I've ever written, every convention thing, everything I've put now into AI to create a model of myself, so that when I spit out an SOP, I don't have to redo it. I can just say, recall this, blah, blah, blah. And my prompts are long, because I should suggest you take Jack's AI course, because really building those prompts I've saved on sheets, I can just load them in, and it will come back with damn near very accurate information that I want to give, because I've only asked it to search in this information that I've given it. It's not pulling from other sources. It's only pulling from my source. So that's the ethical question. Is that me? Because it's not pulling from other information, right? It's not pulling from random chat GPT stuff. It's pulling only from my database. So if I'm asking, just like a calculator, hey, and it's only pulling from my source, is that ethical to use? I don't know. And clients, do I tell them? How credible is my information if they feel like it's coming from an AI source when they don't really understand AI to begin with? Really, most people don't. So right now, this is to me, this is no man's land for integrity. You're right. I could set up an entire podcast for myself, which I might, I don't know, and have it so that I'm generating content and it's fun and it's entertaining. If you think it's weird, what about her generation? How much are we going down the path in which this generation that's coming up is going to go, yeah, that's just, I watch YouTube and a lot of it's AI generated, and that's okay. It's entertaining. I get my information, right? It's interesting. So good point though.
And that's my question, is you felt obligated to let Jack know what you're doing?
Absolutely.
What other platforms or places you've used this, do you feel like you have an obligation to let people know that, or are you picking and choosing who you disclose that you're doing this with?
This is the only public forum that I do now. What I love to say now is that I'm thankfully a published author before AI. So it's one of those things where I was talking with another writer colleague, and they say it's tough because we're competing with people that are using AI and claiming to be writers. And I said, yeah, it sucks, but this is the world now, right? And so if someone asked me to do an article, I would write it myself. Now, here's the question, Jake. I would prefer that to be my editor than sending it off to my jerk or editor who butchers my stuff that I don't like. So, because that's what I love about writing. But every time I wrote something for any periodical or magazine or anything, my editor would butcher that, and it would almost be not what I want because they're trying to fit. Correct. So, correct. So the question is, how much can you use without it bothering you right now? Because honestly, there are no standards. Like, who's going to know? I mean, if you're not good at using AI, you're going to see red flags, right? Ellipses are probably one of the most telltale things out of AI right now, right? So right now, Jake, it's integrity, honestly. But I would, just like Jesse and I were talking about, I would question everything at this point.
Yeah,
I would question everything.
a very interesting breakout discussion would involve an IP lawyer and this topic of ethics, I think.
Yep. Bruce?
Just saying.
When you were demonstrating some of the early problems, the pops and the
Yes.
weird thing, you just made the statement that it learned you
Very
better.
much so.
Was that a newer version, or you uploaded more content, or you gave it better prompts? Or
So I showed Jesse last night. Jesse, I just took a 2-sentence thing, and the first time I did it, it sounded so weird. It was. It won't take long. Let me see if I can get it right here. Let's see. 1 second here. History. Okay, so my voice is different. This is not me. This is an imposter. Okay, I'm going to play 4 of them. Every time I did this, I did nothing to the levels. I just hit regenerate. First try. My voice is different. This is not me. This is an imposter. If only I had a way to adjust the inflection better. There are too many variables.
My voice is different. This is not me. This is an imposter. My voice is different. This is not me. This is an imposter. If only I had a way to adjust the inflection better. There are too many variables.
My voice is different. This is not me. This is an imposter. If only I had a way to adjust the inflection better. There are too many variables.
That sounded like me. The audio was lower. I could bump that in DaVinci, right? But that sounded like me. It sounded my inflection. It had my pauses. All I did was hit regenerate 3 times. I did not change any other setting. So what is it? Jesse and I were talking about this. What is it in the AI that's saying, well, he doesn't like this. Let's change something else. I have no idea. So this is where it's like, there's sometimes I put it in and it's like, what the hell is that? Okay, we're up, right? It's weird. And then you go, wow, that nailed it. Okay, I can adjust things. So is it perfect? Is it the version? No, because that's all the same 2.5 version. I'm not using the 3.0 version right now because it's just not, it comes out very weird. I'll just do it right here in front of you. It doesn't matter. I'll go to 3. It's the alpha model right now. I'll regenerate. It gives me 2 selections and it's not close.
My voice is different. This is not me. This is an imposter. If only I had a way to adjust the inflection better. There are too many variables.
The voice is much richer than me. I hate to say it. So if you know me and you've listened to me for a year now, if I threw that to Jack, something's off. I'm trying.
You know what it sounds like? It sounds like you have really good recording equipment.
That's now here's the deal. Here's the deal. I'm not an audio tech. I literally, when he asked me last year, I got on my gaming thing and I still I don't have, so for him to give me that feedback, okay, cool. Maybe then this is.
I could have you say that in a two different just microphones.
Yes.
Everything else the same. And your voice will sound different on those two different microphones.
Interesting. So let's look at the two.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
Let's listen to the second version.
My voice is different. This is not me. This is an imposter. If only I had a way to adjust the inflection better. There are too many variables.
So I could sit there and hit generate, and it's going to give me all. But notice how close they were. The one I was doing before was 2.5, and all of those other versions were so off. So even the 3.0 version, the alpha version, is getting better at getting results. And so that's in 6 months this has happened, right? And so yep.
Now that you've effectively got something that can get pretty close to how you actually speak, have you thought about building a protocol up so you can tell places like your bank or local government that you have to have some sort of way to confirm you are actually you and not an AI?
Yeah, Jess and I were talking about this a lot last night. This kept us from sleeping a little bit. I am not smart enough to do that, right? I don't know. But I think that there will always be workarounds. If someone really wants to clone my voice, what's stopping them right now? I have enough audio content online right now for all my stuff. What stops them now? Right? I'd rather have it for myself, see what the technology holds, see where what it can and can't do. And then now you're right. And this is why I'm telling you guys, I need to find a way. How do I protect myself? Is there a way that I could, I was shooting things at Jesse and he's like, that wouldn't work. And like, but in reality, it's like, there's going to be smarter people that figure this out, but I'm going to tell you, there's also going to be smarter people that are going to try to circumvent this.
Yeah, so my investment account has a voice. It's been trying to drive me into voice authorization. And I was like, there are thousands of hours of my voice on the internet. And it's every time I go in there, I'm like, nope. I'm going to do like 2FA me all day long right now. Do not need that.
They said their technology is so good they can pick up your real voice.
I think that's some bullshit right there.
Andy, what's up?
Yeah, mostly I'm just going to win a bet, but it's going to come at the end.
Please.
So this does allow you to do a thing that I can do many things. I can ride a unicycle while juggling. I cannot read out loud.
Yeah.
I make a joke of it when I read y'all's questions. I'm like, if our duper dupe, I cannot read out loud. I can ad lib, I can get on stage, I can talk, I can stall for time. I can't read out loud. So I did this. And one of my kids wrote a book. And he said it would be very cool to hear it. I'm like, oh, well, hold on. Yeah. And I threw in a couple hours into 11 Labs and I wrote it. And then I shamelessly put it on my own podcast so that I could have it forever and he could listen to it. He's like, that's super embarrassing, but whatever. And then there was a manual that you have to do this CrossFit. When you go take a cert, you have to read this manual and go do the thing. And somebody said, I wish the manual was on an audio format so I could listen to it as I drove. I'm like, well, hold my beer, right? So I turned it around. I said, let me see if I can do this as a question. And I sent it to Jack and he's like, that's horrible. I cleaned it up and I put it in there. No one will tell now. No one will be able to hear it. So I don't know if you remember doing that for me that one time I sent something. Just won that thing. I told you I did it. I might have been because of you, but it allows you to do something reading out loud. I can do many things, but not that.
What's great about Andy is him and I became really good friends since the ISU, and he's been there for me in my recovery, and I love him to death. I told him, and it's just like us. Whenever we say we're going to do something, we geek out on it together, and like he does something, and so I was like, dude, there's no way you didn't text Jack then, or he's like, I did, and I was like, why didn't you tell me? He didn't tell me. I was like, so yeah. I don't, and my goal was not to tell everyone and make this a slippery slope for Jack. It really wasn't. I wanted to see if it was going to, one, work, two, if it would help me during my recovery. Now that I'm better, I have to make that, again, an ethical and integral choice. Do I continue doing it or do I speak? And that's something I'm going to have to come up with. So, but Andy, you're up. You won. I'll owe you something. Oh, you a ribeye. Back rub.
So I've got a quick story in just a sec, but I will say is when you do that regenerate,
yes,
I can guess exactly what it's doing because I helped develop some of that technology.
Oh.
What's happening is every time you regenerate, it's going to take when it generated, it took its weight and it tried its best. And then it came out with something. Now what it can do is it can compare what it produced to a sample of your voice, and it can do an error minimization function, and it will adjust the weights. And when it tries again, it's reduced its error. So every time you're regenerating, it's like it got a little better, got a little better, got a little better. And that's why you hear it like trying different things and slowly converging towards your voice.
Thank you. I love that. I thought it was like witchcraft. I have no idea
that's what it's
it
doing.
was. So.
So here's the story, and this is a true one. It's been a few months ago now. There was a gentleman in a major bank in Hong Kong. He was responsible for major wire transfers, moving large amounts of cash internationally. He got a request via email to move, I believe it was somewhere between $15 and $20 million of cash through an international wire transfer. And he was like, ooh, I better validate this one. And so he sent an email back, and he wound up on a Zoom call with the CFO, an executive vice president, and a senior manager that he knew. And they had a conversation about this wire transfer. Jesus. And the wire transfer, the CFO wound up giving confirmation that the wire transfer should proceed. So he completed the wire transfer. It turned out, so this was Zoom with video, by the way, and real-time interactive. And it turned out that everybody on the Zoom call except him was a deep fake AI. And so it was good enough that what they were doing was they were driving the real-time voice and video off of actors who, have you seen the whole thing where they can do that? They were doing that. Everybody else on the call was actually just talking and responding. And the deep fake was able to take that and convert that into the avatar of these other people and clone their voice and their video in real time. And so boop, off it went. And by the time they figured out what was going on, it had landed in an offshore account and had been moved again. And then they had to go try to track it and find it. But so that's why I tell everybody, if it is intermediated, if you have a piece of technology between you and the other human being, at this point in time, you cannot know who you're talking to. And so if it's a super low stakes, just saying hi on the phone, probably nobody's going to bother. The higher the stakes of the conversation, the more likely that somebody would go to the trouble of doing that. So
Thank
yes.
you. Thank you.
Digital ID will save us.
Thank you, Alan.
That exact thing just happened to my wife yesterday.
Jeez.
That exact thing. The person on the Zoom call with you, I'm telling you right now, that was all AI. They tried to fish her from Wells Fargo and said that we had some withdrawals and they needed to fix it. So that, yeah.
That's where I was going with all that too. You got to know, like we were saying earlier, just where did we go for vacation last year? Or when we were on the beach, what dog walked by or whatever,
Yeah.
Hey, Tim,
what's some?
Well, we got to call it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's time. You can talk to him.
Yeah, guys. Also, thank you for everything. I appreciate it. I hope you like my presentation. And thank you. And sorry about getting emotional. It's been a tough year. So thank you, guys.
Angry ducks.
Too early to be this creeped out, kid.
Thanks.